preference for junk food is acquired by offspring during pregnancy. Listen to this. This is from a major scientific journal. It says, new research suggests that pregnant mothers who eat high sugar and high fat diets have babies who are likely to become junk food junkies themselves. According to the report, they said this happens because the high fat and high sugar diet leads to changes in the fetal's brain reward pathways, altering food preferences. Not only does this offer insight into the ever-increasing rate of human obesity, but it also explains why some people easily resist fatty and sugary foods while others seem hopelessly addicted. This goes back to the 1970s. And Dr. Lawrence Lashan, a great psychologist, who said that you are what you think. And he was so certain of the power of your thought upon your physical health that he said that after interviewing a group of women, based upon their sense of self-esteem, they could predict which women were most likely to develop breast cancer, all other things aside. In other words, you resolve the issue of smoking, drinking, or any other risk factors. If you just took a group of otherwise completely healthy women who had no history of breast cancer, no genetic predisposition, those most likely to get breast cancer were likely because they did not have true self-love and felt themselves a victim. Later, this work was picked up and expanded where you could actually show pro-inflammatory conditions like arthritis. For example, the author of that study said that women who felt that they were not appreciated for the work they did for other people in their own families, like cooking and cleaning and laundry, and were just taken advantage of, were women most likely to get arthritis. Now, we know that there are many other contributing factors, but until that time we had not even thought that the mind would play a part in these diseases. Now we know that the mind plays a part in all diseases. So, two interesting studies, and both very, very important for us. So it also means that as a woman is pregnant, and I've explained this so many times, in fact I did a book, it's out of print now, it was How to Have a Healthy Pregnancy. And I took a group of women first a group of women who were infertile and couldn't get pregnant, and after 2 years, over 80% were able to get pregnant just by changing their behavior, lifestyle, and nutrient levels and toxic levels. Then a separate study, and this study was that I believe that before people have intended pregnancies, that they should take at least a year or 2 to completely detoxify their body, because anything you have in your body, lead, cadmium, mercury, will impact the developing fetus. Viruses, bacteria, nutritional imbalances, hormonal imbalances, things we don't even think about, all will impact the developing fetus. Now, when you see that 1 in 3 American pregnancies end in miscarriage, and that a high percentage of those that don't end up with children that are being born with learning disabilities, or somewhere on the autism spectrum, then we realize that, gee whiz, this is a big blind spot in going about pregnancy. But I also thought that we should do something else. At one time, we had 7 million American children that were orphaned. That meant 14 million adults should not have had that child. They were not fit parents. Now think of how many parents have children and do not give undivided and unconditional love and time to the child. Now you look at all the children today who have been given nannies or preschool, kindergarten. Someone is always watching after them except their parents. What role do you think that giving a guardian your child's time and attention, what do you think that does? Last week I filmed a person who is the nanny for a very famous scientist, and who said that she babysits for about 12 hours a day, and the mother's so busy being so famous and earning money and research grants for the place where she works that by the time she gets home, the child's asleep. When she's off, the child's asleep. She rarely ever sees her child. And even on the weekends, she's frequently traveling, so the nanny's own 18-year-old daughter then babysits on the weekends. And she says, you have no idea what it's like when you become the mother, because the child's looking at you. You're giving their attention and love and affection. The mother thinks she's a great mother because she can afford to pay me $20 an hour to take care of her kid all day without realizing that there's going to be a price to pay at some point emotionally when this daughter grows up and says, you weren't there. Think of how many baby boomers had children who got so tied up, so busy in their own insecurity of trying to overachieve that their children got left behind. Not financially, not materialistically, but emotionally and spiritually. So my idea and the advice I give individuals is before you become a parent, as a husband-to-be, as a father-to-be, go out and become a big brother. There are millions of young men that would love to have a person to care with them and to grow with them and to help them and to mentor them in life. And yet at the end of the day, you go home. You continue your life. And the child goes back to the center wherever they're staying. And the same with every woman. Before you think you're going to be the ideal mother because you have all these maternal thoughts, why don't you become a big sister to another child that would really appreciate the love and the attention you could give? And I'd be willing to bet that at least 70% of the men and women who thought that it would be a great idea to have a child, well, when they actually become dependent at some level, realize it's not for them. But that's the time to make that call, not after you end up having a child. That's my own thoughts, however. Next up, good news for those of you who've been using intravenous vitamin C. I'm a major advocate of that because I've seen it save people's lives. I've seen it reverse age-defining illnesses and cancer, end stage, and hepatitis. Major accomplishments, not just in a few, but in thousands. Here's the latest. This is from a Royden clinic in the Public Journal of Translational Medicine, a collaboration between Orthodox oncologists and medical practitioners and basic researchers proposing new uses of intravenous vitamin C for treatment of cancer. In the paper, they're discussing how intravenous vitamin C, which, by the way, is a high-dose vitamin C, 50,000, 100,000, can help treat a lot of the inflammation associated with cancer that you could not possibly get into your body using an oral cancer. It can help stop cachexia, which is the wasting away. It helps improve immune suppression. In other words, so your body's better able to fight cancer. It improves quality of life, and there's 246 separate scientific references showing that this works.